When I finished designing and building the Archer, I still had no idea how I was going to profile the cams. I could have done it all by hand, but that would have taken forever and involved a mountain of trial and error. And if there's a more efficient way to do something, I'm going to take it. So when I finally had to face the problem, my attention kept drifting to this bit of software that comes bundled with Rhino, and that's Grasshopper. I'd ignored it for a whole year, but curiosity eventually got the better of me. Grasshopper is basically visual programming for Rhino. Instead of writing code, you build logic and geometry by connecting nodes together. And the more I explored it, the more I thought this might actually solve my cam profiling problem. To explain how Grasshopper interacts with Rhino, let me show you the setup. Here's the Archer in Rhino. I've stripped out all unnecessary parts, so we're left with the main shell. Each articulating body section is linked to a geometry widget in Grasshopper, along with a slider that lets me move that part around. Each joint has two rotational widgets. One rotates the body part itself, and the other defines the axis the next part will rotate around. As you move down the arm towards the hand, each joint has to reference the previous one, so every row of widgets gets longer. I'm sure there's a cleaner way to build this, but honestly, I'm just happy that it works and I'm not touching it. The second half of the Grasshopper setup tracks the position of each cam follower relative to the movement of its body part. That's handled through a series of calculations. Each joint has different leverage, even though the cam followers are identical, except for the two arm rotations which need a longer pull. Once all that's in place, I can start plotting the key positions in the Archer's performance, just under 60 of them. This is done by adjusting the sliders until I find the exact pose I want. When I'm happy with that position, I bake it into Rhino, both the body pose and the cam follower location. I also record the rotational degrees for each body segment at that moment into an Excel sheet, so I've got a reference. As I bake more and more positions, the cam profile starts to emerge. Some poses, like loading and shooting the arrow, only need to be mapped out once and then copied. And this is where the actual cam mapping process begins. First, I define the working boundary the cam follower has to stay within. Then I divide the cam into performance sections. A small slice for the Archer's starting pose, 3 equal sections for the 3 shots, and a final slice to bring everything back to the starting stance. That structure gives me a clean framework to drop all those baked positions into. Once all the key points are in place, I can join the dots and reveal the full cam profile. Then I check the profiles to identify potential issues. One thing I look for is the gradient of the cam path. If it's too steep, the follower struggles, so a gentle slope is better. Another problem is tight turns, which create gaps in the profile. You see this clearly when you offset the profile for the cam follower. The nice thing is that fixing these issues is pretty quick at this point. But there's always a gap between the flawless precision of digital design and the messy reality of mechanical parts. To bridge that gap, I create a calibration cam, a spiral that moves the cam follower 0.5 millimeter per marker. By comparing that with physical markers on the cam's joints, I can tune the software to match real-world behavior. However, having said that, I've realized I'm wasting my time cutting out cam profiles and testing them while I'm still constantly revising the Archer's system. Every change shifts the dynamics and the cams become useless. I'm getting ahead of myself, so I've decided to stop cutting physical cams until I know the Archer's system works perfectly. I have, however, added a new tool to the Grasshopper setup, a playback system that runs the cam profile back through the Archer, and to spot issues before I ever cut anything. It's a huge time saver, and yes, it found problems. That's where refinement comes in. And lastly, I've decided to revise the way I calibrate in real time. I'm dropping the idea of physical markers and instead creating 13 calibration cams, one for each arm joint, so I can physically point to and check every position at the same time on the real model. That also helps me identify any backlash, which I haven't yet compensated for, although it's at an absolute minimum. I honestly think I am very close to getting the Archer operating, so hopefully in the next episode I'll have something exciting to show you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.